People are on they got me out the left down there for like 5 days in the national building. Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially everyone there.
So as a government agency, we have a How are you?
Try to take off something new.
Yes.
He said he's going to, right, first. Yeah, that's what I.
Already given. You got enough.
Yeah, exactly. Like running.
So very conscious focus on it. I would.
I just forget all this time. It'd be fine.
We're ready.
Good afternoon and welcome to the KIPDA meeting on January the 22nd. It's now 2 p.m. and I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity to be able to be the chair of KIPDA for the 2026 year. And I can't thank the staff as I sit and been quite attentive to the board for the last 7 years and for all what they have done for our communities. Everyone in the KIPDA district. And one last comment. Can't say enough about the Indiana Hoosiers. It was true history. So at this time, Jared, you'll call the roll, bring the meeting to order.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Kevin Beatty.
Here.
Honorable Scott Bates.
Here.
Honorable John Black.
Here.
Honorable Bernard Bowling. Honorable Byron Chapman.
Here.
Honorable Jack Kaufman.
Here.
Mr. Jack Couch. Honorable Troy Ethington. Mr. Chris John Streets for the Honorable Jeff Gahan.
Here.
Honorable Nicole George.
Present.
Mr. Keith Griffey.
Here.
Honorable Treva Hodges. Honorable Dan Eisen.
Here.
Honorable Maria Johnson. Got your mayor, Mr. Andy Crouch for the Honorable Mike Moore,
Here.
Honorable John Ogburn,
Here. I'm here, Jared.
thank you, Judge. Honorable Carol Pike, Honorable Jason Sharp, Honorable Jerry Summers,
Here.
Honorable Jim Travis,
Here.
Honorable Scott Travis,
Here.
and Mr. Bo Glass for the Honorable David Vogt.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Good deal. Thank you, Jared. I'd like to make one more comment before we get started. I'd like to thank Mr. Kaufman for his due diligence and all that he has done for KIPDA. And again, Jack, I hope I can fill your shoes.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome. At this time, the November board meeting minutes, I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor to approve the November board meeting minutes as presented?
Aye.
Thank you. The November financial statements. Rita,
Let's look at page 27. Page 26 is our actual budget and expenditures and summary, but 27 has our graph. It makes it a little bit easier to understand. So on page 27, we have our CED spend, 324,517 for 11.36% spend. And then our transportation is 1,300,433, which is a 26.26%. And then we have our Department of Social Services, and that's 18,067,692 for a spend of 46.92%. And then also we have our other operating, which is 8,829, and that's 3.79% for a total expense or total expenditures of 19,837,251. And that's how much we spent up through these November, per our budget.
any comments or questions?
We put out more, that's just one.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, gotcha.
Then our agency actual to budget comparison graph is on page 34. So on page 4, for the month of November, our revenues were 4,269,605. Year to date is 20,524,026. And we have 44.09% of our revenues. And then our expenses are 4,105,127 for the month of November. And then our year to date is 19,837,251 for 42.61%. Then we have our balance sheet on the page 38. And our total cash is 3,695,644 at 20%. And our total receivables are 2,802,170 at 15%. And then the total of all of our other assets are 2,937,062 at 15%. And then the rest, our total liabilities to projects are 9,435,556.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments on the November expenses?
Motion to approve her great presentation.
Thank you. You're making a motion, Mayor Black?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, like sign for approval, aye. Those opposed, same. Thank you. December, Frida.
All right. So our December graph is on page 40. And again, this is our December actual to budget expenses for fiscal year 26. The spend is 437,165 or 15.30%. And that's for CD. For transportation, it's 1,576,605 at 31.83% of our budget. And then Department of Social Services is 22,666,463 at 58.86% of our budget. Our other operating is 8,974 at 3.85. And our total expenses through December is 24,849,934. The December's agency-wide actual to budget comparison. Our revenues, we've received $5,175,031. And our year-to-date is $25,699,057. And we are 55.21% of our revenue. And our expenses are $5,012,682 for the month of December. Our year-to-date is $24,849,934 for expenses at 53.38% of our budget. On page 51, we have our balance sheet. And for December, our cash is $3,774,067 and 19%. Our total receivables are $3,100,736 at 16%. And all our total other assets are $2,935,097 at 15%. For our total liability and projects at $9,814,565. Any questions?
Questions for Frida, financials? Any? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the December financials.
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
and a second. All in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, same. Thank you all. January personnel report, Megan,
Hoosiers.
there you go.
New hires, Jared Cox. Over here, began work as transportation planner, December 22nd, so last month. We're thrilled to have her. Joy Hooten begins work as an FMA participant enrollment data specialist on February 9th, as does Carrie Sapp as a connector. Departures, Spencer Williams, I think we announced the annual meeting, he had just given us notice, his last day as a transportation planner is December 12th. Elijah Belials, also a transportation planner, his last day was the 2nd of this month. And then Renisha Casey was a home care assessor and case manager, her last day was also the 2nd. We have a handful of vacancies. The first two, Connect Application Counselor and ADOC Coordinator, we have good lines on the second interviews, but those are still officially vacant. And then we also have Home Care Assessor and Case Manager and Nutrition Assessor, both in social services. And as always, our job postings can be found on our website. And our staff count, 77 full-time permanent, 2 part-time permanent, and 1 part-time temporary.
Okay,
It's
I need a motion to approve Megan's report. Are any questions?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, like sign aye. Same as opposed. Thank you all. Grounds for growth. We have a guest speaker here today, Carson Clouser. Carson's field environmental engineer with Atlas Technical Consultants. Carson?
Hi, thank you all for having me here today. As mentioned, I am an environmental scientist with Atlas. What that entails is I'm the one doing a lot of the report writing and field work with some others on my team to do the environmental analysis of things like soil, groundwater, building material, things along those lines. Take a second for our presentation to come up. So what Grounds for Growth is it's a partnership within KIPDA and the 9 counties served to use the funding from the Brownfields Coalition grant. This grant would have been rewarded October 2024. It's been through a period till September of 2028. The grant tasks include community engagement. This involves, we want to do these redevelopment plans with the community in mind. So that includes getting community leaders to join the Grounds for Growth Council, as well as participating in farmers markets, public hearings, things along those lines to gauge what the community members want to see developed in their communities. We're not just going in to develop properties for the sake of development. We want to do this with people in mind. So to achieve this, it all starts with this phase 1 environmental site assessment. We do historical reviews of the property's uses. Depending on what we find, we may recommend phase 2 work or a building material survey. This is where we go in and collect soil samples, groundwater samples. If it's an older building, we'll collect for asbestos and lead sampling to get an idea of what's on the site. After we gather all this information, we can determine whether or not cleanup is necessary. If soil needs to be removed and if we need to bring in clean fill, or if asbestos needs to be abated from these older buildings. From there, we can activate our redevelopment plans and actually see these old eyesores of properties be turned into something new and exciting for these communities. So as mentioned, this all starts with community engagement and a goal of Grounds for Growth Council. I'm here with Atlas. We partnered with EHI. They're another consultation and outreach firm who helps us get engaged with these communities. And as I mentioned, our events range anywhere from farmers markets to festivals to even Ready Fest in Taylorsville was a really sweet back to school program. So we went to this back to school program, had a whole bunch of school materials to hand out to the students coming in for a new year. And at that time, we were able to talk to parents. What do you want to see in your community? It's as simple as that. And we get a lot of really great feedback from these events. People get excited to talk about their communities and what can happen. Our goal is still to get one outreach event in every single county. As you can see, we've been making good progress, 5 so far. As the weather starts to warm up this spring, we'll have another fresh list of events to attend to and table at. These are just some photos from some of our events. Again, anything ranging from farmers markets on the left to Ready Fest in the middle where we're handing out. It's really just a great, exciting chance to hear what people want to see come up in their communities. And this list here brings us to the list of sites that we have so far. Now, these sites range anywhere from industrial properties where you see a lot of serious manufacturing going on to even retail properties or office buildings, such as the Board of Education property. And this gives you an idea of the scope of sites we're looking for. It doesn't have to be a gas station with a whole lot of contamination to be an eligible site. The Board of Education property, it was so old that we had concerns for asbestos and lead, and that allows us to use grant funding to continue our assessment. The important thing that's in common with all of these sites is that none of them are undeveloped properties. None of them are agricultural land or woodlands that we are assessing for this grant. They are specifically have been developed at one time, have sat vacant for some time, and are looking for reuse. So that's a really important part of this grant, that we are looking to redevelop properties. We are not looking, yes?
What would number 9 be for Oldham County? What would that
Yes, so the vacant Crestwood site, this site, historically was a handful of things. At one point, it, handled agricultural equipment. It was also an auto repair shop. And the adjoining properties included a gas station that had a known release that could have migrated onto this property, as well as an old dry cleaner. So with all of those things in mind, our phase one ESA, directed us to do additional subsurface soil groundwater testing. And this site specifically, it joins, forget the name of the park at the moment.
It's Maples.
Maples, thank you, yes, so it joins Maples Park, so this is a great project where if we can go in, clean up see if there's contamination in the soil and clean it up and create it as an expansion of the Maples Parks. So those are some of the projects, a great example of what we have in mind. One of the projects I wanted to highlight while here was the North Buckman properties in Shepherdsville. This site was originally residential, however, one of the adjoining properties was improperly storing auto repairs, and broken down cars without the permission of the city. Because of this historical use, we went out there and performed our phase two activities and detected elevated levels of arsenic. Arsenic's not common with automotive repair. It comes from a multitude of other sources. However, because of this phase two work, we're doing additional subsurface investigation to create a more refined approach to our cleanup plan. And all of this is with the goal of reusing the property. We've been working closely with the Bullitt County Parks and Rec Department, who've been in contact with the art teachers within their county. And at the moment, they are interested in returning this into a pocket park / art space, community garden, as well as like interactive art pieces that can be both educational and public purposes. So that one's very exciting. We're in the reuse planning phase for that one right now. EHI is working on those plans, and hopefully beginning in February, we're gonna be looking to really take some next steps on that. Additional project highlights, another exciting one, the Oddfellows Lodge in Newcastle, a very historic building built in 1872. Again, our phase one's assessment determined there's the potential for lead and asbestos concerns. We also had some concern from an underground storage tank near the property. Our phase two analysis found no elevated levels of contaminants, no asbestos. So we were able to go forward with a structural assessment design. The thing about this building is a few years back, the roof actually caved in during one of those really fierce snowstorms. So caved in building was too expensive to justify the work on it. They didn't know what was there, so it sat unused for a while, which is why it was great for this grant to come along. And actually, the assessment funds have been used for that structural assessment, and they're looking to begin redeveloping it and as a community center, barber shop. So again, there's a lot of public uses in these. It's not just public spaces, but it's also had the commerce impact to it, as well as just really creating something new from something that's been unused for a while. Additionally, this one is a little bit more in the, it's just now getting off the ground, but we're working on the Preston corridor at the moment. Preston corridor within Louisville and the Linview Center, the former Linview Center. You know, stretches and stretches of strip malls, and some of them sitting vacant, some of them might be open, but you might not guess it by the look of it. So we've been working with some of the business alliances within that area to start creating a bit of a priorities list in terms of, we haven't done any phase ones for these yet, but we are researching those properties. We're gonna get those phase ones scheduled and start understanding where the priorities are for those assessments. And we'll be working with Yard and Co again to lead those efforts and kind of address more of the reuse. So again, there's like this mix of environmental assessment while also trying to be mindful of the community and make sure that we are developing with the community in mind, which is where Yard and Co helps us with this portion of the project. So just a highlight of some of our accomplishments through December of this past year. The grant is a little bit more than 1 year old now. As I mentioned, we've attended 5 community engagement events, which have been fantastic. Our goal is to really aim for 1 in each county, so with the warm weather coming before too much longer, we'll be looking forward to getting outside a bit more and doing more of those farmers markets, things along those lines. So if you have any recommendations, please feel free to let us know, let Jennifer know, and we will add them to the calendar. A lot of this project involved direct communication with the EPA. They're the ones who approve our reports. They approve our sampling plans for the phase 2 work. So we've been developing a good rapport with them in terms of trying to get these projects moving a little bit quicker. So far in total, we've completed 8 phase 1s, 2 phase 2s, 2 building material surveys. Those are the asbestos and lead surveys, and 1 structural survey for the Oddfellows Lodge. And with plenty more coming along. And I say plenty more, but we're still looking for more sites, 10 properties across 9 counties is not as much as what we're trying to pursue with this. So we are trying to really push for more of those community leaders that we've been interacting with through the Grounds for Growth Council. We've been encouraging them to please bring more properties to us. And I feel, again, it's really important for me to reiterate, it can be easy to get weary of redevelopment plans for some of these smaller communities. A lot of these communities are agricultural based. They like their woodlands. They like to preserve a lot of those properties as they are. This project, the Brownfield project and Grounds for Growth, help preserve those agricultural properties and those undeveloped woodland. We get to turn the eyes of property developers away from this cheap agricultural land onto these, what would typically be unsavory, problematic sites. We get to say, hey, we have the grant funding to redevelop this property. We get to turn their sites away from the agricultural land and build on what's already been developed. So that's the most exciting part of this project for me, is to preserve that agricultural land and that undeveloped woodland. The grant budget so far, this is just a bit of a breakdown at the moment. The grant total was for $1.5 million. And a little over a year in, we still have 1.3 million to spend. So again, that's just based on 10 sites. We're really looking to push more of that backlog of sites to really start making this grant budget work. We have until the end of September 2028 to spend all of this grant money. And I know there are communities who need these projects to see this through. So I really do have the faith and belief that we can get this done. And I want to see that bottom right corner drop to 0 in the next 2.5 years, So with that, I would love to open up the floor to any questions about what I'm doing, what the Grounds for Growth Council does for these communities in KIPDA.
I guess just one comment, you do gas stations though, correct?
We do gas stations, yeah. And as I mentioned, it can be a former gas station, or in the example of the vacant Crestwood site, that wasn't a gas station, but because of the release from an adjoining gas station, it becomes eligible for this grant money and this cleanup fund and everything.
Okay.
Yes.
I would just say, what I have observed, the work that's been done with the Preston corridor has been really impactful in the way of just convening community and listening and identifying those properties that, even if you're from the area and you drive down the corridor, unless you live there, you're not really gonna know. And so I've heard nothing but positive things, and what I've been able to observe is really strong. So I would encourage others to take advantage of the grant.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I feel like that corridor in particular is a great example. It's easy to drive right by all those places, but a lot of the community members in those areas are within walking distance of those strip malls and of those. And so to gauge the people who are actually going to be using those things is essential to really bolster those businesses as best as we can.
I will get in contact with you just to get.
Yes, I work with Jennifer and Felicia. Again, I'm here with Atlas and all. They have my contact information. properties, community engagement events, anything in between those, please bring them our way.
Absolutely, Mayor. You can send them to me, to Felicia, or to Jennifer, or any others, and we can get you in contact.
Our next Grounds for Growth meeting, the council meeting is next week, next Wednesday at 11:30 by Zoom. So if you're not on the council but want to be a participant, just reach out to me or Jennifer and we'll send you that link. And then again, if you all have any sites, please let us know.
Anything else for Carson? We sure appreciate your time and the information.
Appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you,
good afternoon.
Carson. Okay, okay, Frida, the fiscal year 25 agency audit.
I just wanted to give you an update on where we are with the audit. It is not complete. Right now, it is still with LBMC's quality control partner. And then it will go on to APA. But I'm expecting that our February meeting that it should be complete, and Gina Jones from LBMC will be coming back to present that audit to us in February.
Good.
So I have no.
Okay, and then your ask,
Yes.
okay,
On the audit services RFP, I did want to mention that we did receive our decline letter from the auditors of public accounts. They sent us a letter telling us they were unable to perform our fiscal year 26 audit. And so with that said, I wanted to request the approval to submit an RFP for our audit services for the next 3 years. Yes, for the next 3 years. Any questions?
Any motion for this?
yes, need a motion, okay,
Second.
and second, all in favor, like sign aye. Same opposed, thank you, Frida. Transportation Policy Committee, Andy?
Sir, good afternoon. The KIPDA Transportation Policy Committee met in this room just a little bit ago at 12:30 this afternoon, and I will go over a summary of that meeting. First thing I'll mention is we had a transition of our officers. The TPC bylaws state that the officers that the highest ranking member of the KIPDA Board of Directors, it has in essence the first right of refusal to serve as our 2026 chairman. So there'll be a little bit more on that in a minute. And so I want to thank Judge Summers for committing to being our 2026 chairman. And in the next agenda item, I'll have more on that one. Also at our meeting today, we talked a little bit about, made a few funding changes. In fact, in Clark County, Indiana, and then a few funding cost increases on the Kentucky side of the river. We also administered the changes to effectively 4 amendments, 2 amendments times 2, 2 amendments to our TIP, 2 amendments to our long range plan, TIP Transportation Improvement Program, or our short range plan. Those were approved today. A wide variety of projects in both states, including some projects, if I'm not mistaken, the I-64 travel lanes project in Indiana, project that would impact the US 31 or 2nd Street Bridge or Clark Bridge. The idea there that KYPC is working with NDOT on is to, right now it's 2 narrow lanes in each direction, 4 total, right, on the Clark Bridge. The proposal that's in the works now is to change that from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, okay, and 3 lanes meaning 2 lanes in the northbound direction, 1 lane in the southbound direction, okay, 1 lane coming into Kentucky, 2 lanes going into Indiana. Also included in that would be some improvements to the sidewalks, namely a barrier that would be established with a little bit of extra room. Remember, going from 4 to 3 lanes, you got a little bit extra room. Basically, if I'm not mistaken, it should be a Jersey barrier that will basically provide some separation from that person that's walking along that sidewalk to the travel lanes. So that's a big change to the Clark Bridge. We went over our new goals and objectives for our long range plan, known as our Metropolitan Transportation Plan. We're scheduled for an update of that here in the spring of 2027. And so the goals and objectives were approved today. Nothing major to mention there other than that the existing goals and objectives were adjusted, edited, what have you, to reflect some of the recent executive orders and some of the criteria that is no longer allowed in terms of project selection. Okay, so namely things like climate change, environmental justice, some of those things had to come out of our goals and objectives, and we replaced them with some other terms that weren't the same. They aren't the same, but they are meaningfully different. But to have to keep air quality impacts in mind, I think we changed sustainability to stewardship. Okay, and that was a word change. Of course, that was just a word change, but we changed some objectives to reflect that more meaningfully. Want to put something on this board's schedule, the so-called federal certification review. Every 4 years, the KIPDA Metropolitan Planning Organization gets certified by the federal government. We're due for one of these in this spring and summer. So those dates have been scheduled for May 6th and May 7th. So May 6th will be a full day event here at KIPDA. Where the Environmental Protection Agency, Federal Highways Administration, and Federal Transit Administration will come in, assess the metropolitan planning process in our region. It will follow with a public hearing later that evening, and we'll get their preliminary findings that next morning. Chris Nicholas presented what's known as the annual list of obligated projects. That is all the money that was spent in the last fiscal year. For those that were in the meeting, you may recall, it was a big number in fiscal 25. That's awesome. That's awesome. If I'm not mistaken, it was $500 and some odd million. That is total money obligated. That is put into play officially by the federal government in fiscal year 25. A lot of that was maintenance and rehab projects that might be a little bit one-off to make pavement improvements past 65, but nonetheless it was a 9-figure increase, as in hundreds of millions, 100 or 200 million increase over fiscal 24. Awesome. One of the things I want to say to the KIPDA board and somebody that we recognized at our PPC meeting today. Earlier today, we had a loss here at KIPDA. A gentleman named Jim Thrasher. Those of you that have been around KIPDA for a long time probably knew Jim or interacted with Jim. Jim worked at KIPDA from the 1970s till he retired in 2014. He retired KIPDA from the transportation division. He was always the jack of all trades. There's not a more lovable or loved man that's probably ever worked in KIPDA. I think all the staff that worked here back in the day, and even some of those that didn't know Jim, they've heard the rest of us talk about Jim and how kind he was, how gentle a soul he was. He shortly after he retired, he had some health problems that happened like 6 months after retirement. So we lost Jim today. So hate to hear that, and keep Jim and his family in your thoughts and prayers. And with that, to conclude on that concludes my report.
Thank you. And go ahead, questions, friend?
How did they make the determination on the Clark Bridge to make it 2 lanes north, 1 lane south, or how did that, does that mean people are leaving Kentucky and going to Indiana, in the mornings more so, or we don't worry about the traffic coming back in, or how is it?
That is a great question the KIPDA transportation director doesn't have all the answers to. But the KIPDA transportation director has been asking the same question. Okay, I want to be clear about that. Be interesting. Namely, the choke point, for those that use the bridge, it's crystal clear what happens that if you're coming into Kentucky, the second and main intersection is the choke point. There's no doubt about that. If you're going north, on the other hand, you can speed up and you don't have to slow down until you get to Chicago. Right? And so we're gonna have 2 lanes going that way, and one lane coming this way. Could be interesting. Could be interesting.
Good deal. Any other questions for Andy? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Andy's report.
Motion to approve his report.
In a second, all in favor, like sign aye. Same opposed. Thank you. Andy? Approval of 2026 TPC officers.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, the TPC bylaws state that the highest ranking member of the KIPDA board of directors that is representing an agency that is in the urbanized area, if you will, it is to serve as the KIPDA TPC chairman, Transportation Policy Committee chairman. And so, I want to thank, Commissioner Pavlik for serving, doing double duty, last year in those roles. And this year, as your KIPDA board chair, Judge Summers from Bullock County has volunteered to serve, not only as your board chair, but also for the Transportation Policy Committee chair. So I want to thank you for that, Judge Summers. Earlier this week, the nominating committee of the, for a vice chair, discussed potential nominees. And so, Deputy Mayor Nicole George from Louisville Metro was nominated and approved by the TPC to be the 2026 TPC vice chair. Okay, so I want to thank her for accepting that nomination. And also, the TPC bylaws state that those offices or officers, I should say, are to be installed by the KIPDA Board of Directors. So I'm seeking action today to formally approve and install Judge Summers from Bullock County and Deputy Mayor George from Louisville Metro as our 2026 TPC officer.
Do they ever get up and be sworn in and everything?
They can duel if they want to. Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the officers that was stated for the TPC for the upcoming year. Second.
I have a motion and a second, to approve the officers approved by the TPC at the meeting earlier today. All in favor, like sign aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. Thank you all so much, and Nicole will do a great job. Thank you. Felicia, the approval of the CED division contracts, please.
Hello. I have one contract for approval. This is from KIPDA. It's to enter into an agreement with the Haven Ministries to admin their CDBG recovery housing program. The amount will be $47,127. This is the second grant that they have received for the recovery housing. They are located in Portland and they did an absolutely fantastic job on the first project. This is a second project that will have an additional 9 bedrooms, but also a community center, and they received $1.2 million from the Department of Local Government for the construction of this facility. So just asking for approval for us to administer this project.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Thank you, Felicia,
Thank you.
for all you do. Regional Planning Council, Ryan?
Good afternoon, everybody. I got a really brief report on Regional Planning Council for you today. KIPDA RPC was held on January 13th, here in this room and virtually via Zoom. We had a presentation from our guest speaker, Brian Blank, who's right over here. He is the marketing director at the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources. His presentation entailed some of the resources and services that the Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources can offer to our community, especially within the planning realm. KIPDA and other counties gave some updates. I wanted to mention really quickly, as far as KIPDA's updates go, we are working on the update for our regional hazard mitigation plan for this year. So I might be reaching out to some of you all over the course of the next 2 years here to collect some data for that plan update. In addition to that, nominations were made for our RPC chair and vice chair. The council nominated the same slate of officers that we've had the past couple of years. So we've got Mr. Ryan Litkey from Shelby County as our chair and Judge Executive Scott Bates from Henry County as our vice chair. Our next regional planning council meeting will be held Tuesday, April 14th at 11 a.m. And the guest speaker for this council meeting is yet to be announced. But I'll be reaching out in the next couple of months here with an official invitation for you all. If anybody has any other questions, be happy to field those. Otherwise, that.
Thank you, Brian. Action is requested. I need a motion to approve Ryan's report. A motion and a second. All in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, the same. Justin, on Regional Water Management Council.
Thank you, Chairman, Judge Summers. Good afternoon, Board. The KIPDA Regional Water Management Council met here on Tuesday, January 13th from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. There was a quorum with no attendance issues, and the council approved the minutes from our October 14th, 2025 meeting, where we also approved our regional rankings. Ariana Lajerman with the Kentucky Rural Water Association was here as a guest speaker, and she provided our council with drinking water updates and information regarding new lead and copper rule improvements. The updates have recently set a new lower action level of 10 parts per billion and mandates the replacement of all lead service lines within 10 years, which is now requiring water systems to inventory, find, and replace all lead lines, improving public health protection significantly. And the compliance starting with this is going to begin beginning of next year, 2027. We also had Ellie Wellman and Casey Cash with the Bluegrass Area Development District join us as guest speakers. They presented their Bluegrass Regional Water and Wastewater Rate Book to our council. Our Regional Water Management Council showed interest in having KIPDA Community and Economic Development Division staff begin a similar rate study for us, our region and our water and wastewater systems sometime this year in 2026. My plan is to when I do my system visits this spring, collecting data and asset inventory information, also to pick up rate information for them so we can also conduct a rate guidebook as well. We had 3 new projects that were approved by the council. Those were the Arbor Creek Force Main Extension Project for Eminence Wastewater in Henry County. We had the Harmony Village Road Water Main Extension Project in Oldham County for Louisville Water Company. And then the council also approved the Kentucky 1848 20-inch water line replacement project for the West Shelby Water District in Shelby County. The council also elected our 2026 KIPDA Regional Water Management Council officers. Russ Rose, the director of the Oldham County Water District, will remain our chairman for the council this year. And we elected Arthur Jones, who is the city engineer for the city of Shepherdsville Sewer, as our vice chair this year. County updates were also given by each one of the counties before the meeting adjourned. Our next Regional Water Management Council meeting will be here Tuesday, April 14th from 1:30 to 2:30 in person, and also virtually via Zoom. We will be conducting our system visits, reaching out to all of our water and wastewater systems in your all respective counties here next month. Conducting all those, wrapping up cleaner water grants, which will be needing to be wrapped up by the end of this year. So we'll be hitting those hard to make sure that all of that cleaner water program grant funding has been spent. And if you need any assistance with water, wastewater, or stormwater needs in your communities, please reach out to Felicia Harper or myself. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Justin.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Has there been any discussion on the removal of fluoride from the public water systems?
Not in the last year. That was a topic that we had some people come and speak about in 2025 or 2024. But we haven't really revisited that. But I know that is something that we could have a guest speaker come and speak on.
There has been legislation introduced again this session in Frankfurt.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good. Any other questions for or comments about Justin's report? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve Justin's report. All in favor of the motion? And a second, all in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, same. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Judge Summers. Thank you.
Yes,
Board.
sir. Trish? FMS business, please.
Good afternoon, thank you. So the first thing we have is, we're requesting authorization to enter into 2 new memorandum of, understandings with 2 new case management agencies to provide financial management services. One being the Columbus organization, and Alliance Community Services. We continue to expand that program with I believe 25 different agencies that we were providing financial management services for, in addition to our. Yes. Any questions?
Tricia, just we're kind of scope. We have like 25 new agencies, but how many individuals is that across the 25 agencies? Or is it around 700?
It's actually gone up, so it's probably close to 850, 900, 850. We added 120 new clients externally for the month of December. So it's grown exponentially for us.
And those are people that would not be receiving the service if it were not for a financial management agency. So just again, accolades to Tricia and her team for this initiative.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Jared. Christian. Any other questions, comments? Again, I'll entertain a motion to approve, Tricia's report. Second, all in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, thank you. The social services business, Trish?
Okay, so for this one, we just need to request ratification of a couple of, agreements. So the first one is to ratify a memorandum of agreement between KIPDA and the Penny Roll ad to expand the Veterans Directed Care Services program, into Harrison and Scott counties in Indiana. So another newer program for us that is continuing to grow. And then also we have contract modifications from the Department of Aging and Independent Living. One for the NSFP program, which is Nutrition Services Incentive Program, and the MIPA program. Both of those were modified to add some additional funds. So I'm just requesting ratification of those three contracts and agreements.
Gotcha. So moved. Second. There you go. Again, like sign aye. Those opposed, same. Thank you, Christian.
You got a question?
No, when we were talking about a few months ago about people not being able to get their meals and stuff because they ran out of money.
Yes, sir.
I think Governor Bashir found some money, but has that been taken care of now, or is it still?
I don't remember off the top of my head exactly how much additional funding we did, but we have received additional funding. We were also able to reallocate some of our Title III funds back over into the Title III the meals programs. And we have added everybody that was removed off of the program was still eligible back to the program. Most of them, they should all be back on now. Most of them were back on the program as of December.
They get a meal every day.
They had 5 days a week.
What about when the snowstorm hits, they just don't get anything?
So if they're not able to do deliveries, we do shelf stable meals, and I do. Here, I don't know if shelf stable meals, I know we're ordering shelf stable meals, I don't know if they've been delivered or not. We are providing 3 shelf stable meals to each of our homebound clients for this year. I apologize, I'm just not sure if they were delivered yet or not, but I would think we're ordered this month.
Additionally, Mayor, these are not delivered daily. They go out in 5 packs, so they
Once a week.
ideally have stocked in their freezers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Ethan, legislative update.
Thank you. That time of year again, talk about legislative issues. I'm gonna start with Kentucky. In your board packet, there should be a legislative bill tracker that will be updated throughout the year. That the tracker in your packet is updated as of Tuesday. And I'll just continue to add bills of interest. If there's any bills that pop up that you don't see on your tracker, but you want me to follow and provide updates on, please just let me know and I can add that to the tracker, make sure that I get board updates for those. One of the major bills that was introduced so far is House Bill 370, that's the gas tax overhaul bill. That would remove the current excise tax and set an initial base rate of 29.6 cents per gallon, and that would increase to 34.6 cents. And then after that, it would be subject to annual adjustment and tied to the National Highway Construction Cost Index. Well, the priority of this session is to adopt the biennial budget, so we'll monitor that as it comes out and provide all the necessary updates. Some of the major things that we're looking for this legislative session is JFA funding, grant program, funds, KPDI, senior nutrition, things like that. And I believe I did put the water fluoride bill on the tracker, and there's some others on there that you can look through, and I'll keep those up to date for you as well. So the last day for new Senate bills was March 2nd, new House bills, the deadline is March 4th, veto period April 2nd to the 13th, and then sign die is April 15th. The Kentucky Council of Area Development Districts is putting on a legislative luncheon on February 12th at 11 a.m. in the Capitol Annex cafeteria. Before I move on to Indiana, any questions, comments about Kentucky additions? No. All right, moving on to Indiana. Indiana got a head start, 5 weeks ahead of schedule. The governor called, a special session to consider, redistricting. That was put into House Bill 1032, which was defeated in the Senate. Some other bills, Senate Bill 179, it's $75 million, to the Community Crossings Grant Program. And there'd be a call for projects, for communities that did not receive funding in the previous round. House Bill 1001, that's related to housing. The goal of the bill would be to compel higher density development strategies, as well as lower cost for developers. There's some issues that were identified, such as removing authority to impose design standards in construction, limits building fee increases to once every 5 years and ties the increases to the consumer price index, removes local zoning authority, and requires the allowance of multifamily housing in commercial zones. And so that currently is awaiting the second and third votes, readings in the House. Senate Bill 238, that is related to the local income taxes. This is from the SEA one from the previous year. Allowing municipalities to levy a local income tax to replace some of the shared revenue losses, but not all. It was held in committee this week. There will likely be several amendments in the next few days, and they'll be in committee on Tuesday. So halftime, that's the date that bills must pass out of the Chamber of Origin, is next. It is Thursday, January 29th, and adjournment is March 14th. What I got? Any questions, comments?
I have a somewhat related question, I guess, to this Jared and you guys at KIPDA. I know the rules are changing on manufactured homes versus stick-built homes. I think up and coming this year. So we had some questions Tuesday night at fiscal court about getting some better clarification. We may need some handouts or some refresher training on how each of our counties will view that, so we don't get it wrong, I guess.
Felicia, is this something that you think, because I know that you all are planning on hosting the planning commission training this year, is this something that you think would be a topic at that during that training?
Yeah, I can see that.
And then we can see what information we can gather and get a one pager together for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, basically, R1 lots in a subdivision, the house can come in on wheels or you can build it stick. Unless, I guess, an HOA requires a particular dimension.
So a manufactured home that they're talking about is considered a stick-built home. And it can go in any residential lot as long as it does not have HOA requirements for it. So the manufactured homes that they're talking about that's in the new bill is considered a stick-built home. It was just built in a factory. Now you go into mobile homes, that is where, when you say manufactured homes, most people think of mobile home. That's what you're thinking. If it ever had an axle, if it ever had wheels, where you can put wheels on it and remove it, that is what your zoning regulations more or less have restrictions on. But they're saying that if you build a neighborhood, if you don't have an HOA that has their own regulations, that house is considered stick built. It's allowed there.
So can I have a permanent foundation?
It has to be on a permanent foundation, yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
also has to have a certain pitch of roof on it.
Yes, correct. So look at it this way, that the manufactured homes have already been through the building permit process through the state and have already been approved. Those plans have been approved through the state building department. They are considered a single family house. It just comes in parts and they put it together on a permanent foundation on your property. Now, anything that had wheels and you take off, even if it's put on a permanent foundation, it's still considered a mobile home. So your manufactured homes, you need to look at it as a community, it's a stick-built home. Now, if a developer comes in and wants to build a new subdivision and wants $1 million houses, he's going to have his own restrictions that do not allow that.
Your financing's gonna be different.
You're fine, yeah, well, no, the financing is really the same, because it's a single family stick-built home. You're just buying it,
And VA approved that process?
I believe so.
But the developer can't say no, right? As long as it meets all the regs.
If the developer puts his own, if he records his restriction, his deed restrictions, the developer can say, no, those houses are not allowed here. But if it's just a subdivision out in the county where some Mr. Smith divided 10 acres into 20 lots, and it doesn't have any restrictions, that is a stick-built home. You're going to permit that as a single family house.
The construction is done, no.
Yes, it's still,
Taking everything out
yeah.
there and building on site, they're building the pieces and then taking them, yeah.
which they have standards they have to meet. So in all reality, they're probably more stable than so-and-so getting
People
20
check it
workers who aren't
inside their-
qualified to build a house.
I think the key, the difference is actually in the definition.
It's the definition.
Manufactured home, modular home.
Yeah.
Modular
Yes.
comes in components slid off of the frame and set and bolted together. A manufactured home is manufactured in a plant, may come out in 15 or 20 pieces, or it may come out as well and be lifted onto site and set on a foundation.
But it went through the state Department of Housing and Construction with their architectural drawings that it is a stick-built home. So when someone comes in your building department and it's a brand new house, they have to submit their architectural drawings. They already have stamped drawings from the state that this single family house is a single family home. So what you all need to do is just look at your definitions. You can't restrict manufactured homes because it's considered by state law a single family home. Now, the developer, when they're doing a new subdivision, they can restrict it by either the material it's made out, the square footage, or
Well, out in the country, they talk about single wides and double
and
wides.
see that right there is, but yeah.
So, here we go. The definition of if
If
you buy a
if
new
it has axles and
hitch.
Wheels.
shape base.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, if it ever had that, that is a mobile
You
home.
see it coming down where you kind of roll, say wide load.
Yes. But a manufacturer that are in these regulations are a stick-built home. It was just built in a factory.
So
And they're mass
what you're
produced.
saying, are you saying they're pre-approved at the state based on how they build them? Or does local planning and zoning have the ability to enact their own set of regs?
So you can be more stringent, you cannot be less stringent on the local level. So if you have more, if your building code goes in deeper, then they would have to meet your all's minimum
'Cause
criteria.
we have a technical review committee today at 5 o'clock, and we're gonna be talking about manufactured homes. And how they're gonna be permitted, because this law goes in effect July 1st.
Right.
But it's requirement a little bit.
They would have to submit those architectural drawings to you or to your old building department and make sure that they meet your old minimum requirements. Which they do, because I think we're all on the same 2018, or it might have just went up this past year, building code.
I was talking to somebody this morning and said, well, a house this size, 1,500 square feet, where it costs 450,000, I can get one of these for 150.
Right,
So they say because.
they say they can get it for
because-
150,
say
but really you
because of
can't
the-
anymore.
They say because of the lack of housing and the cost of building a house, that's the reason these lobbyists have been able to push this through to get more residential properties on the ground, period. Because.
The only way you all are gonna stop it in your community is if that local developer puts the same their restrictions on it. But we can address this. We're gonna have a, planning commission training here in September. So you all should be getting information about that later in the year.
Well, you know, for those in the room that might live in a manufactured home, I'm not giving on a manufactured home, but I lived in trailers before. That's a long time ago when I was going to school, but anyway, got kicked out of most trailer parks.
That is no surprise.
But I don't know, I think what I was gonna say, it's like you got HOA, but, you know, if someone's got a $600,000 house in a subdivision, and someone comes rolling down the street, pulling a trailer,
Yes.
pulling a thing on wheels and
Yeah.
pulls up next door.
No, and that's why
They're
it's
gonna-
so
they're gonna be
important
concerned.
that the developer gets it, that's why it's so important that the developer makes their own. And they do, yes.
I wish you see the one 2 doors down from me.
Is that right? And in your, on your,
Well,
Well, you're not-
Baker Track.
you're probably not the subdivision.
It's not.
No. You got one different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. I know we're gonna have questions.
Thank you, Ethan. Managed IT, Jeffrey, Wall,
Good afternoon. I don't present very often, so for those of you who don't know, I'm the network administrator here at KIPDA. Paul and I take care of the computer needs for the agency. In April, we've been at KIPDA for 27 years, and I plan to retire at the end of the month. You know, it's gonna tear up a little bit. Jarrett and Megan and I have been discussing the best way to make this transition. And due to the nature of the labor market today, you know, people come and go a lot more quickly than they used to, and it's difficult to find somebody that will even stay for 5 years. We've decided to explore the managed services market as a possible replacement for much of what I do. We believe this will bring some continuity to the agency in the area of IT. We released an RFP at the end of December, and the responses are due back on January 29th. We put together an evaluation committee of 6 staff members, and they'll make their initial evaluations between January 30th and February 4th. And from those, we'll choose the top vendors to come back and make presentations. The presentations will take place February 5th through February 13th, and we would like to make our recommendations to the executive committee sometime during the week of the 16th, planning to award the contract by February 20th if that's what is decided. We have this compressed time frame because the board meeting in February is so late in the month. And we want the chosen vendor to be able to work with me for as long as possible before I leave. Today, I would like to ask the board to ratify the RFP that was released in December and also to give approval for the executive committee to consider staff recommendations on awarding the contract prior to the February board meeting. If we do award a contract, we'll come back to you in February and ask you to ratify that decision. Action is requested.
I'd like to put all that in the form of a motion. Also in my motion, congratulate her on our many years of work.
Thank you.
I don't know if an outside agency is gonna be able to provide the ability that you do in a timely manner. We've got that set up in our.
Do you?
We don't have an IT person, we
Mhm.
contract it out.
I think the answer is no. I think we realize that going in, she's gonna be sorely lost. It's one of those things that keeps me up at night. But just kind of as she illustrated, I think the difficulty of trying to replace her, getting somebody on board and then trying to keep them at, KIPDA is just, I think it's an impossible task in the current climate. So that's the reason we want to explore this route. But no, we're definitely gonna be, missing Jennifer and all that she brought to the agency.
Definitely.
And congratulations on your retirement. I have a motion by, Judge Travis. I need a second.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, like sign aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Thank you all. Thank you, Jennifer. Jared, intergovernmental review.
Could I have voted against her quitting?
That would hold any sway, I would
Yeah.
encourage you to.
Yeah.
If it works.
Items A through G have all been set out for local review. There have been no comments that have been received back, all have been approved, so those items can all be taken together.
And excuse me, I'll entertain a motion to
I'll make
approve
that
the,
motion to
got a
approve the
motion?
intergovernmental reviews as presented.
thank you. I need a second.
Second.
All in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, same. Thank you all. The executive director's report, Jared.
Thank you, Judge. First, I'd like to just begin by recognizing Mayor Pike, Mayor Ethington, Councilmember Bernie Bowling, Mayor Tanini, and Nick Creevy, who all came in after roll call. We had 20 of 22 members here today, so that's just incredible. So thank you all for being here, this afternoon. Recognition of guests, and also give you all the floor if you have anything to share. I'll start with, James Victory with Congressman Guthrie's office. James?
Yes, sir. Mr. Director, Mr. Chair, wonderful to see you guys. First off, let me say, team, very sorry to hear about your loss with Mr. Thrasher. Jennifer, congratulations on your retirement. And to everyone else that, like me, is a native born Hoosier and learned about the IU had a football team about 2 years ago. Go Hoosiers. So I have some really good news to share today, that I'm excited about. First is, the Chairman Guthrie was able to call a hearing, actually earlier today, of most of the top CEOs for the health insurance companies from around the nation and start that line of questioning for how we're gonna attack and reduce the cost of healthcare. So whether you're running a business or a county or a city, that's something that we really want to address because, the CMS said that about $5.3 trillion in 2024 from America was spent on healthcare costs. That's 18% of our gross domestic, of our GDP. The second one, it looks like, Congress is finally getting back to regular order when it comes to government funding, which is very exciting to those of you that work in the world of, government contracting and the things you do being funded through government funding. So, earlier today, the rule passed. It's gonna, get Congress to vote, it's gonna get the House tonight to the vote to pass all the government funding bills that are up. Avoid the shutdown for next week, no continued resolution. We're truly just getting back to passing appropriation bills. So things like community projects and some of those, earmarked projects that you guys have worked very, very hard on should be coming to fruition. Some of that's been going on for the last couple of years. So in saying that, hoping that we continue in regular order, Kylie Fouché from our office will probably be reaching out to some of you guys if she hasn't already to talk about what projects we'll be looking at from the second district that you guys would like to put up. So pending any questions, that is gonna be the end of my report.
Thank you, James.
Thanks, James. We're also joined by Stacy Rockaway with Congressman Massey's office.
Hey, everybody, I think James kind of covered the big thing about the funding, so that the Dutch government doesn't shut down on the 30th. And other than that, unless anybody has questions about things that are going on, happy to be here and, glad to stay afterwards in case anybody needs to talk to Congressman Massey's office.
Thanks, Stacy. Also joined by Brian Blank with Protected Fish and Wildlife.
Thank you, Jared, Chairman Summers. Couple things, I don't usually give law enforcement updates, but this is a pretty big one. We just executed Operation River Watch, which is gonna result in more than 700 criminal citations. We had a bunch of bad actors from Paducah all the way to Ashland that were illegally harvesting catfish to the tune of over 300,000 pounds. And that was a 10-month investigation, multi-agency, multi-states, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and we're pretty proud of what our guys did and basically put everybody on alert that if you misuse the resources and you steal opportunities from others, and you're gonna have a negative impact on our fisheries and our wildlife, we will catch you and we will prosecute you. License and voter registration fees, we updated those. And we're gonna start updating those every 2 years based on the CPI. If any of you know county clerks, please apologize to them for me because we tried to work through Canvas to get it updated on time. But we've had some challenges, so, any county clerks that I need to deliver brownies or something to, just let me know. Deer harvest, we harvested over 140,000, which is, this past hunting season, which is above our 5-year average. However, when you're pushing 1 million deer, we'd like to get a lot more, but that's the way it works. I also want to invite everyone, Wednesday, January 28th through Sunday, February 1st is the Louisville Boat and RV Show. So come on out, see us, we got some cool swag. Our folks will be there to talk to you about anything from improving habitat on your property to where to catch the big fish and tell deer stories and so come on out. If you need licenses or permits, we're there and it's always a good time. So hopefully it won't be like the hot tub show this weekend and get snowed out, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. But Wednesday, January 28th through Sunday, February 1st, Global Boat Show. So come on out, we'd love to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. I want to draw everybody's attention to the pocket. We have a few handouts that I want you all to be aware of. The first, Ethan had touched on it earlier, but it's Area Development District Day in Frankfurt, and that is on February 12th. At 10 a.m. that morning, the Kentucky Council of Area Development District will be meeting, their board will be meeting on the Capitol Annex Room 149 for the quarterly meeting. As a reminder, KIPDA is represented on the Kentucky Council Area Development District Board by Judge Summers and Judge Ison. Immediately following that board meeting, we will be hosting our legislative luncheon in the Capitol Annex. This is open to all of our board members. I encourage you all to come and interact with our legislators. Just please let me know if you're able to go, and I will be sure that you have your meal ticket. One of the other items is the 2025 annual report. Just want everybody, when you get an opportunity, to please review. It shows our activities across our agency in the past year. As I often say, we would not be able to do anything without the leadership and direction of our board. So I encourage you all to please look and just see some of the accomplishments that you all are directly responsible for. And then finally, I wanted to touch on the 2026 legislative priorities of the area development district. The first is and that's included in here, the handout. The first is the joint funding agreement. The joint funding agreement is what is the primary funding source for our community and economic development division. We have had ebbs and flows through the years. We've had some increases in the past biennium, and we are continuing to work to try to get back to where we had been historically accounting for inflation. So that is one of our requests, and we've been working with Chairman Petrie on. The second is our Kentucky Infrastructure Authority. The activities by Justin Carter and Ryan Lloyd, when they go out and work with our water and wastewater districts, host the Regional Water Planning Council, do the mapping. That comes through our contract with KIA, and our contract with KIA does not even come close to covering the scope of work for that. So in the last biennium, the first year, we had an increase, but the way they put the language in the bill, we only received that for year one, then we drop back to our regular levels in year two. So we are working to try to get those increases back permanently within the budget. We have a meeting next week with Chairman Petrie, Representative Bray, and Representative Miles. So I think there is a lot of support for that initiative. The third item, the senior nutrition program, Judge Black, or Mayor Black, you had touched on this earlier. This past year, we've received our typical federal dollars, but then the legislature had allocated $10 million to the expanded senior meals program. And then we had no additional dollars. The governor found $9.1 million for a total of $9.1 million in state dollars to get us through this fiscal year. Going into the biennium, the governor's budget requests another 19.1. So what we had received this year, but the area development districts internally, our calculation is that we're around $20 million because KIPDA, along with probably half of the other districts, are procuring some services this year. So the costs are undoubtedly getting increased. So we are working with the $20 million request to continue providing those senior meals. The putting young Kentuckians to work, While Kentuckiana Work serves as the Workforce Investment Board for our region, 7 of the 10 Workforce Investment Boards are housed in the area development districts. So this initiative is just supporting the workforce development boards across the state to continue the putting young Kentuckians to work. And that's assisting 18 to 24-year-olds who are either unemployed or needing assistance in obtaining employment that allows them to be self-sufficient. And then many of you all are familiar with the grant program. That is the Government Resources Accelerating Needed Transformation Program. We are would like to see that continue. It has opened up the opportunity for many of our local governments to pursue federal grants because it decreases the local match. The local match is based on the median household income within a county. So in the KIPDA region, in Trimble County, that's a 2% match, Henry County, 3%, and Bullitt, Jefferson, Oldham, and Shelby, and Spencer County, it's 5%. So when you were typically paying 20% for a match, that is a significant reduction in your burden. Through our Community and Economic Development Division, we have been approved for $27,377,725 through the grant program to date. So that just shows how beneficial this has been to the KIPDA region. And then finally, the KPDI program, that is, there have been discussions about that program ending, but that program is extremely successful at leveraging private and public investment. And it's a valuable economic development tool for local government. So we're just advocating for the continuation of that program. So any questions on those legislative priorities? Well, hearing none, I will move to our travel items. We have 2 items for ratification. The first is the Brookings Institute for a Local Transportation Initiative meeting. This was in Washington, D.C. Andy Rush was asked to attend. He was there January 7th through the 9th. And the good thing about this is that was a reimbursed. The second item is the SC4A Winter Board Meeting. Jessica is serves on the board. SC4A is the Southeastern Association of Area Agency on Aging. So basically the collection of Jessica and her colleagues or counterparts across the Southeast. And that board meeting was January 12th to 14th in Myrtle Beach. So action is requested to ratify those 2 travel items.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second to approve travel items. Again, all in favor? Aye. Those opposed, same. Thank you all.
And then finally, just next month's meeting, we have the Transportation Technical Coordinating Committee, which will meet here in this room, February 11th at 1 o'clock. And then our regular slate of meetings will be February 26th with the Transportation Policy Committee meeting in the Burke Room at 12:30, the Regional Transportation Council meeting in our adjoining conference room at 1, and then the February Board of Directors meeting at 2. And this concludes my report. I just want to thank you all for all you do. I know that you all have a busy weekend ahead of you with the incoming storm, so appreciate all your efforts in keeping our roads safe and passable. That concludes my report.
Well, thank you, Jared. And again, I want to thank you all for having a lot of confidence and trust in us this year. And our Emergency Operating Center in Bullitt County will be open. We're part of Metro Safe, Oldham, and the surrounding counties as well, along with Jefferson and Spencer. So reach out, pay attention to our post. Carol will do something about animal control. I don't have an answer for you today.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That's good. Yeah.
I just wanna say, if you don't mind for a moment,
Sure.
we are gonna do our best this weekend in the Social Services Department, checking on our clients, older adults, those with disabilities we can serve. But if anybody, in this room comes across someone that's needing some type of assistance we might be able to help with, client or not, you all have my phone number. Feel free to text, call, or do whatever you need to do. So that, if we do have a way of providing assistance, whether during the storm or right after, we're aware of it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And we'll be making decisions Sunday evening to see if our government centers will be open on Monday. And again, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the KIPDA meeting.
Motion.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same.